Welcome to our LinkedIn Live program. My name is Gerhard Schwartner. I'm the founder and publisher of Selling Power Magazine. And we have a special guest, Thomas Ross. He is joining us from soar.com, and he is VP of Sales, but also he's an expert in AI as a strategic tool for driving revenues. Welcome, Thomas.
Well, thank you, Gerhard, and thank you for calling me an expert. I think we're all still developing that expertise as it comes to AI.
I think with AI, we are all experts. It is unbelievable. What you can create now. There is a new tool that I fell in love with yesterday, which is Perplexity.ai.
Yes.
And it does research for you. You would not believe. It gives you the citation and it gives you the sources. And I think it's better than Google. I've already spent an hour with it today.
Yes, I've spent some time with it myself. It's an amazing tool. And
Right.
at the end of the day, what we're finding is there's so many new tools
Yeah.
coming out on a daily basis that the
Yeah.
challenge isn't the tools or the technology. The challenge is us, right?
Absolutely. The challenge is the lack of interest or lack of time and lack of insight. So why do you think that we are at a time now where AI is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity for survival?
Well, the competitive nature of the marketplace that we all work in has already made that decision for us. The fact is that many organizations have embraced AI and have done a great job with it. And they are gaining market share while we talk, whereas the other 80 to 90% who either haven't embraced it or have done so very, how would I say, in a very disorganized manner
Right.
and not strategically, are losing ground quickly to those companies that have figured out how to use it. And
Right.
again, so there's lots of tools, there's lots of opportunity, but we need to be strategic.
Yeah, there are like 26 tools that can do sales coaching and training and skills rehearsal. There are about 30 different tools that where you can build AI agents that do prospecting, leads analysis, or have customer conversations. There are hundreds and hundreds of AI tools for sales enablement, sales productivity, and what's more important than all the tools is what? Strategy. Why is it that companies are so far behind when it comes to strategic thinking about aligning people, process, and technology?
Well, it's a great question. And I recently wrote a blog where I called it Playtime is Over. And that's basically what it comes down to, in that most organizations have been playing. We've all been dabbling with this and that and the other thing. So we see this new perplexity or that new whatever it may be, and we try it. And what, unbeknownst to many enterprises and organizations, is that all their people are doing that likewise. So where
Yes.
they may only think they've got one or two in play, the reality is they've got 30 to 50 in play, right? And all in a very disorganized
Right.
and frankly dangerous way.
So, what's your advice on how companies should orchestrate those AI initiatives and align them with their overall revenue goals?
So you said it right there, and that's aligning with the revenue goals. So at the end of the day, the organization has goals, it has objectives, whether they're revenue based, whether they're activity based, whether they're margin based, whether they're customers in a new vertical based, whatever those goals are, we need to take those and align them with the tools that are going to get us there quicker, more cost effectively, and an impactful way over the time frame that we're looking at. And that's where AI comes in, because AI does that in spades, but only if you organize it accordingly. If you're using it as an offsite third-party app that isn't attached or integrated with anything, and only some of your team is using it, but not the other part of your team, then at the end of the day, you're not going to get the result. And you may come away thinking AI doesn't work. Well,
Right.
AI does what you tell it to do. So it
What,
wasn't AI
what,
that.
Yeah, elaborate a little bit on the key challenges that sales leaders are facing when it comes to that integration.
What what sales leaders are facing today is a world that's going so fast, and customers that have changed the way they relate and the way they work with us. The days of Googling, as you mentioned just earlier, have really started to evolve away from Google, and
Yeah,
now more people are using ChatGPT just for their general queries on a
yeah,
daily basis. That changes everything. So how does the customer find me? Often people are verbalizing into their phones what they're
yeah.
looking for rather than texting. That changes everything. So the manner by which our customers are reaching us has changed. AI collects all of those data points instantaneously, simultaneously, and pulls it in where you want it. So now, rather than sending just cold emails or cold calling or doing all these manual, high labor intensive type of activities, the challenge now is to leverage AI to bring all of that at scale, automated, giving you a much better response. Now your sales teams can be incredibly productive immediately.
Well, we also have a hidden agenda here in our conversation, which is to promote your masterclass. It will be held on March 13th in Arlington, Virginia. And you are going to lead a 4-hour workshop that helps sales leader with the smooth integration of all AI initiatives into a coherent strategy where people walk away with a playbook. So tell us about how you came about at SOAR. How have you created playbooks before like that?
Sure, sure. So strategic planning and digital transformation were the keywords not so long ago. And now, we're really utilizing AI in much the same way as one of the key tools. But the functionality of that process is creating a plan, is to create a strategy. And in this case, we call it an AI playbook. So, how are we going to implement AI on your behalf and with your organization? Well, the first thing we need to do, and I'll put this in a nice way, is we need to bring you in and talk to you one on one so that we can really help you see what you're doing versus what you want to be doing and why. So you may think your tech stack is in great shape and you're doing all the best things. We may find that maybe not, right? And we may find, and through this 4-hour session, working one on one and in teams with organizations, some in house and some hybrid, because some organizations may want to bring in some of their people hybrid in the event, and we're making that available. We're going to help you do that. And through our experience, and I've been doing digital transformations for more than a decade, the process is the same. It's the technology and then the organizational changes with change management that we need to address on your behalf in order
Right.
to make them work.
And the stakes are much higher. Um, I think that based on what I've learned from our conversations, is that you can reduce cost in a more dramatic way than ever before. And you can like 5x or 10x revenues. And this is something I've not heard before with the promise of CRM integration 20 years ago was that you have a 360-degree view of the customer. And technology has improved that visibility, providing salespeople are doing their job. But now we're in a totally different arena where we have tools at our hands that represent the brain power of maybe a PhD today and maybe 100 PhDs a year or two from now.
Or tomorrow.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And that's an incredible opportunity for us if we learn how to bring it in and make it work for us. So it's not about buying this or buying that. SOAR is a portfolio of AI products, and some of them do this and some of them do that. And it isn't about whether or not it's the greatest technology. It's about whether or not it's going to do what you need it to do within your organization by way of the results you're looking for.
Right.
And when it comes to driving revenue, improving sales process, cutting costs, but growing 3, 4, 5, 10 times what you may have expected before the year started, that is all doable. But boy, you got to make some changes to make it work. And that's what this 4 hours is about. It's not about the purchase of AI. It's about the changes you need to make as an organization before you even purchase the AI.
It's all about how you measure success.
Yeah.
And there is a shift. Now, tell us about the new metrics that we need to look at.
So the metrics change. So wherein prior we were looking at some of the basic traditional sales methodologies and KPIs. How many calls did we make? How many people did we talk to? How many people at this trade show or that event did we get cards from? Those metrics change because now a lot of, not all of, but a lot of that front end lead generation and customer development can be completed by AI. Remember, AI works 24/7 and it ties into every digital profile we have, whether it's social media, digital websites, microsites, all the different areas that we put information by way of being collected in terms of collaterals, white papers, all those kinds of things are now available, and they'll gravity in all of it if we allow it to do so and set it up in a process that allows something like an AI-based SDR to do a lot of that work for us and do it at scale and do it rapidly. So those things coming through to our SDRs and our teams are completely different now. And now what we're looking for by way of measurement for them is completely different than what it was.
Right.
Because now they're qualified, interested customer opportunities.
So what you're saying is that the integration challenge is one playbook, but there is another part to this, which is the change management challenge, because some people fear they will lose their jobs, or organizations are scratching their heads. What if I have now 5 agents, AI agents that do the work of 20 business development reps? How do I reassign those people? How do I create an optimized organization without hurting people?
It's funny that you said it the way you said it. If I have 5 AI-based SDRs doing that work as we've just described it, and of course it gets a lot more granular than that, I'm going to need 50 business development reps to keep up with what those AI agents are doing, because they're 24/7 and they're hitting all the channels at the same time simultaneously, and they're developing an enormous amount of opportunity, assuming we've set it up properly. So trust me when I tell you, we're going to need more people communicating with customers, doing what they want to do, which is actually helping those customers make the right decisions.
It is phenomenal how fast and rapid those changes are. And, I'm reminded what Mark Benioff said at Dreamforce, that
Yeah,
those agents that they're selling now, um, and then don't need to hire more programmers because AI is doing that, but they hire like 1,000 or 2,000 salespeople to sell the agents. It creates more jobs.
exactly. Exactly. What happens is the jobs and the people are now doing a higher level of work rather than the grunt work that we've had them doing for many years in the traditional methodologies.
Yeah, and there's another issue, which is ethical concern and regulations, because there are a number of industries that are heavily regulated, and AI may interfere with that. So, how do you find the right path so that you comply with standards in all countries around the world, but also make it ethical?
Yes, and that's a great question. And if we look at the example we were talking about earlier, wherein many companies have far more AI on the go across the organization than they think they do, they have not applied any of that. In fact, they're in a very precarious position, whether they know it or not. And all sorts of bad things can and probably are happening because of that. So when you're strategic and you bring in the right tools for the right reasons, you make sure the compliancy is met, and you make sure that all those different barriers or boundaries by way of different countries and different compliances like GDPR, et cetera, are met. And the nice thing is AI, once it's set up, unlike different manual systems, stay where you put them, and they
Yeah.
do what you tell them to do, and they give you the analytics back in digital format so that you can see anything that's happening and then make those changes rapidly.
Well, are you supporting this masterclass with white papers, and what kind of takeaways in additional material are you offering our audience so they can make a decision to sign up for the masterclass?
Yes. So we're going to make some, and we already have some generalized white papers for a number of different industries, whereby we've put this in place and already seen the kinds of results that we're talking about. So that's number one. Number two, as people register and they want and they're looking for more information by way of doing that, we're going to send out a workbook that they can begin, because when they get to this event, we're not starting from scratch. We already know a little bit about you, so that we can hit the ground running and cover what we need to cover effectively in that 4 hour period. It may seem like it's a long time. We're going to rip through that 4 hours before you blink, because there's so much to cover and so much that we need to do on your behalf. So with that workbook, you will have the actual format and an overview of what that playbook's going to look like. The only thing missing are your details. So we're going to build on that and add to that with those white papers, so you can see how that specifically applies to you against that playbook. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you'll be able to take that playbook and implement your AI strategy for 2025.
So, and we are limiting this hybrid workshop. And when I say hybrid, is we will have feet on the ground. We have people in the room, but also we are going to stream this to people that cannot make it, cannot travel for some reason, so they can participate for those 4 hours offline. How does that work?
Yeah, in addition to that, and that's correct. In addition to that, wherein you've got an organization that's got 8 people that they want involved in this based upon their leadership groups and how they're organized, maybe 3 of them can make it, but the other 5 are in different locations. We can have them work as a group with 3 on the ground and those 5 being remotely brought in to create that hybrid environment. And we have the systems and the equipment in order to deliver that on site for everybody involved. And that information and what you do there, while we first discover what everybody's doing in general, we move to more customized and more individual groups, wherein we create that workshop environment for each group to create their own AI playbook.
And what is the optimum number of people to make the class really interactive and not make it a mass event?
So we're looking for about 25 to 30 people in
Okay.
total to really maximize the results. And that creates a great environment. And what you'll find is, um, not only will you learn from your own team, but you're going to learn a ton from the other people there and what they've done, what they've experienced, what they're trying out. And you'll learn just as much from them as you will from us. So, and that's critical, because we really do need to play upon that and take advantage of the experience that everybody has to make it even more productive and effective for everybody.
But it's not just an AI innovation workshop where you walk away with a playbook, but you walk away with a lot of friends.
Yes, you'll have fun. The initial part of it is always a little bit interesting, because everybody's sort of learning and are not as comfortable and immediately about telling the truth, if you will, about what they've tried and how. But once everybody gets talking about it, it opens up and everybody has fun. And oh yeah, we tried that and
Right.
this is what happened. And that's what's important. And we learn from
Right.
that. And AI is at a point in its use, by way of what we're talking about, that it is incredibly dangerous. It's like pulling the pin out of a grenade and hanging on to it too long. So we really have to help each other make sure that our
Right.
experiences can be shared and we can avoid some of those more common mistakes.
Well, I very much look forward to this. Thomas, thank you for spending time with us and sharing your excitement on how to transform organizations into strategic entities that are focused on AI, where there's an optimal alignment between people, process, and technology, so you can reduce costs seriously and expand revenues amazingly.
Absolutely. The extent to which you can grow sales, even within your own customer database, not just externally by way of new lead gen, is astounding. And that's what we aim to show people.
Thank you so much. We are going to publish a link shortly where you can sign up for this masterclass and meet Thomas Ross in person.
Thank you. And I look forward to it.
It's going to be fun.
It is.